Good morning, beautiful people. Hey, this is Max. I'm just gonna share this with some people. I'm gonna be reading Still Here by Yashica Gray. Bastards. Okay. That was a lot of wasted time, so apologies to anyone who had to wait for a solid 2 minutes for me to get back. I'm probably going to warn you to skip ahead when I share this after it's been uploaded when I'm finished. Okay, so Yashica Gray, Still Here, my story after the virus, which, as you can guess, is about having coronavirus and surviving. Yashica is an R&B and just had connection issues. I'm good, buddy. Okay. This is not just a story. This is my life. I didn't write this book to be perfect. I wrote it to be real. I've been through things that could have taken me out. Losing my mother, fighting for my life, waking up from a coma, not knowing how to live again. Pain like that changes you. It changes how you think, how you feel, how you move, how you see the world. For a long time I didn't understand why I went through so much. I questioned everything. Why my mama? Why me? Why did things have to happen the way they did? There were days I cried so hard I couldn't breathe. Days I felt completely lost. Days I didn't even recognize myself anymore. I felt alone even when people were around me. And the truth is, grief will take you to places you never thought you would go. It will make you feel things you don't even know how to explain. There were moments I didn't want to get out of bed, moments I didn't care about anything, moments where I felt like giving up, but somehow I'm still here. It took me a long time to understand what that really means. I used to ask, why did I survive? Now I ask, what am I supposed to do with my life? No, I did, because surviving is one thing, but learning how to live again, that's something completely different. This book is about love, loss, survival, and finding strength when you feel like you have nothing left. It's about what happens after everything falls apart, and how you learn to stand again, even when you feel broken. even when you feel like life will never be the same again. Because the truth is, it won't be the same. But that doesn't mean it's over. If you've ever felt alone, if you've ever lost someone, if you've ever felt like giving up, this story is for you. Because if I made it through everything I've been through, you can too. Before everything changed, my mama had a life full of love, routine, and purpose. She stayed active in the church. She wasn't just a member, she was involved. She was the treasurer, and the pastor was her brother. They were close, real close. Church wasn't something she just went to on Sundays. It was a part of her. It was in her spirit, in the way she talked, in the way she treated people. Outside of church, she was a real grandmother, the kind that stayed busy doing things for her grandkids and great grandkids. She loved going to the store, picking up little things she knew they liked. It didn't have to be anything big, just something to make them smile. That's the kind of person she was. She loved being in her kitchen, cooking, baking, just moving around the house like everything had a place and a purpose. And when she cooked, it wasn't just food, it was love. You could feel it. Her life was simple, but it was full. And me, I was right there in the middle of it. Every single day after work, I went straight to her house. That was my routine. I didn't even have to think about it. It was automatic. That was my safe place. That was where I felt peace. We talked about everything. There were no secrets between me and my mama. She told me the truth about life, about people, about things I didn't always want to hear, but needed to hear. And even when I didn't understand it at the time, I knew she was preparing me for something. I'm her only child, so our bond was different. It wasn't just love, it was protection, it was connection. It was knowing that no matter what happened in my life, I could go to her and be okay. No matter what I did, the good, the bad, or the ugly, my mama never turned her back on me. Not once. And that's something I don't take lightly. A lot of people don't have that. A lot of people don't know what it feels like to have someone who stands by you no matter what. But I did. And I didn't realize how much that meant until I didn't have it anymore. Looking back now, those moments feel different. The conversations, the laughter, the normal everyday things. They weren't just regular days, they were memories. And I didn't even know I was living in them. I didn't know that one day I would be wishing I could go back to something as simple as sitting in her house, talking like we always did. I didn't know that one day I would miss her voice, her presence, her energy. I didn't know that everything I loved about my life was about to change. And the hardest part is there was no warning, no sign, the moment where I could say, let me hold on to this a little longer. Life just kept moving like everything was normal, but it wasn't. Not anymore. Life doesn't warn you. One minute everything feels normal, and the next everything changes. It started with my oldest son. He came over not feeling well, and my mama did what grandmamas do. She took care of him. She didn't hesitate. That's just who she was. If anybody needed her, she was there. She made sure he was okay, checked on him, gave him what he needed, stayed close until he got better. That was her heart. But after he got better, she got sick. At first it didn't seem like something serious. She would call me and say she didn't feel good, but she was still moving around like everything was okay. And if you knew my mama, you knew she wasn't the type to just sit down unless something was really wrong. But something in me knew this was different. I could hear it in her voice. I could feel it. That moment changed everything. My son had COVID. My mama caught it. And before I could even process what was going on, it started spreading through the family. Everything started happening so fast. I lost two uncles and a cousin too. Back to back, it didn't even feel real. It felt like everything around me was falling apart and I couldn't stop it. When I found out it was COVID, I didn't want to take her to the hospital. I didn't trust it at the time. All I was seeing on the news or I was hearing from people, it made me feel like they weren't helping people the way they should. So I made a decision. I was going to take care of my mum and myself. I got everything I could think of: medicine, vitamins, zinc, juice, soup, anything that I thought could help her get better. Because in my mind, she beat cancer before, so I truly believed she could beat this too. I held on to that. I've told myself she was going to be okay. I had to believe that because the thought I was losing her was something I wasn't ready to face. But no matter what I did, no matter how much I tried, it wasn't enough. And that's something that still hurts me to this day. Because a part of me still wonders, what if I did something different? What if I took her to the hospital sooner? What if? But the truth is, I was doing the best I could with what I knew at the time. And sometimes that still doesn't change the outcome. The night she passed, my son told me, Mom, Grandmom, Dad. I will never forget that moment. It didn't even sound real, but it didn't feel real. I rushed over there faster than I ever drove in my life. My heart was racing. My mind was everywhere. I just kept thinking, no, not my mama. When I got there, she looked normal. Like she was just sleeping. Like she was going to wake up at any moment and say something to me. And for a second, I wanted to believe that. like a baby, like I was trying to hold on to something that was already gone. I didn't care who was watching. I didn't care what nobody thought. That was my mama, and I wasn't ready to let her go. I held on to her as long as I could, hoping, praying, wishing that something would change, but it didn't. And when they covered her face, that's when it became real. That's when it hit me. I would never hear her voice again, never sit in her house again like we used to, never have those conversations again, never feel that same kind of love again. And in that moment, something inside of me broke. A pain I can't even fully explain, a pain that don't just go away, a pain that stays with you no matter how much time passes. And from that moment on, nothing in my life felt the same again. After my mama passed, I thought I was just overwhelmed. I thought it was grief. I thought it was stress. I thought it was everything hitting me all at once. But my body was telling me a different story. At the funeral home, my auntie asked me, "Why are you breathing like that?" I remember looking at her like didn't understand what she meant because I didn't feel it. I didn't realize something was wrong. But the truth was, my oxygen was dropping and I didn't even know it. That's the scary part. Your body can be shutting down and you don't even feel it happening. After that, things started getting worse. Breathing didn't feel normal anymore. It started feeling like work. Like I had to think about every breath. Like I had to fight to get air into my body. And no matter how hard I tried, it didn't feel like enough. I started feeling weak, tired in a way that sleep couldn't fix, drained in a way I couldn't. But even then, my mind was still on my mama. Everything I was going through, everything I was feeling, all I could think about was her. My daughter saw what was happening. She knew something wasn't right, so she called 911. And I remember sitting there thinking, I hope they fix me so I can go to my mama's funeral. That was my focus. Not myself, not my health, her. Even in that moment, I was still thinking about her. When I got to the hospital, they told me I had COVID. At that point, everything started moving fast, too fast. Before I could even process what was happening, they transferred me to Emory University Hospital. I remember feeling confused, scared, but trying not to show it, trying to stay strong, trying to believe I was going to be okay. I even made a video. I showed my oxygen level and told people I was fine, like I was trying to convince everybody, and maybe even myself, because deep down, I didn't know how serious it really was. I didn't know how bad it was about to get. I didn't know that my life was about to change again in a way I couldn't control. That video was the last thing I remember. After that, everything went black. No warning, no goodbye. Oh, thank you for joining me. You're totally awesome for joining me. You're a blessing from heaven in my life. Feel free to plug anything you want. Just darkness, and I didn't know if I was ever going to wake up again. While I was in that coma, I didn't know what was happening in the world around me. After my mother passed, I later found out that 2 of my uncles and my cousin passed away too. While I was still fighting for my life, I didn't learn any of this until I woke up. When I woke up, I didn't understand what had happened to me. Everything felt confusing, slow, like my mind was trying to catch up to something my body had already been through. The first thing I asked was, "Is my mama here?" That's all I cared about. Out of everything I had just survived, out of everything my body had just gone through, that was the first thing on my mind. My daughter looked at me and said, "Mom, she died, remember?" But it didn't feel real. It didn't feel like something that actually happened. It felt like something I should have remembered but couldn't fully connect to. Like my mom was protecting me from the pain, or maybe I just wasn't ready to accept it all over again. I tried to talk, but I couldn't. I had a tube in my throat. I had feeding tubes in my body. I couldn't move the way I used to. I couldn't do anything on my own. I felt trapped, like I was stuck inside my own body. I could hear people talking around me. Doctors, nurses, voices moving in and out of the room. But I couldn't respond. I couldn't say what I was feeling. I couldn't ask questions. I couldn't even explain that I was scared. And that was one of the worst feelings I've ever experienced. Feeling everything but not being able to express anything. I felt helpless, like I had no control over what was happening to me. I couldn't even do basic things for myself. Things I used to do without thinking. Now it felt impossible. I had to learn everything all over again. How to sit up, how to move, how to speak. Every little thing felt like starting from the beginning, and it wasn't easy. There were moments I got frustrated, moments I felt like giving up, moments when I didn't understand why this was happening to me. The doctors started telling me how serious it was. They said there were 10 people in the hospital with COVID, and all 10 were expected to die. I was the only one who didn't. When I heard that, I didn't feel strong. I didn't feel lucky. I felt confused. Why me? Why did I survive when so many others didn't? They also told me I had a stroke, and hearing that, it just added to everything I was already trying to process. My body had been through so much, and now I had to live with the effects of it. But somehow I was still here, breathing, waking up, existing in a world that didn't feel the same anymore. Physically, I was there, but mentally, I wasn't okay. I had questions that didn't have answers, feelings I didn't know how to deal with, and a pain that didn't just come from my body, but from everything I had lost. And that question stayed in my mind over and over again. Why me? Going back home was one of the hardest things I have ever had to do. That house didn't feel the same anymore. It was quiet but not peaceful. It was the kind of quiet that makes you uncomfortable, the kind that reminds you somebody is missing. Everywhere I looked, I saw her, her things, her space, her presence, even though she wasn't there. It felt like she was supposed to walk in at any moment, like I could hear her voice if I just listened hard enough, but she never did, and that reality hurt more than anything. I didn't want to be there, not by myself, because being alone meant thinking, and thinking meant remembering, and remembering brought pain I wasn't ready to deal with. There were moments I felt like I couldn't breathe again, but this time it wasn't my body. It was my grief. It would hit me out of nowhere. One minute I'd be okay, and the next I was breaking down, crying, hurting, feeling empty all over again. I tried to keep myself distracted, tried not to sit still too long, because the moment I slowed down, everything came rushing back. The memories, the conversations, the things we used to do together, simple things that didn't feel simple anymore. I would find myself replaying moments in my head, things I wish I could say again, things I wish I could do over. Just to have one more day with her, one more conversation, one more moment in that house when everything still felt normal. But life doesn't work like that. You don't get to go back. You don't get to redo those moments. All you can do is learn how to live without them. And that was something I didn't know how to do. Not yet, because a part of me was still holding on, still hoping, still wishing this was all some kind of bad dream. But it wasn't. This is my reality now. A life without my mama. And I had to figure out how to keep going, even when I didn't feel like it. Grief took me to a place I never thought I would go, a place that felt dark, heavy, and hard to escape after everything I'd been through. Losing my mama, surviving COVID, waking up from a coma. I thought the hardest part was over, but it wasn't. The hardest part was learning how to live with the pain. Every day felt heavy, like I was carrying something I couldn't put down, something that followed me everywhere I went. I stopped eating. Food didn't matter. Nothing tasted the same. Nothing felt the same. I stopped caring about myself, about life, about anything. I felt empty. Like there was a space inside of me that nothing could fill. And no matter what I tried, that feeling wouldn't go away. I started drinking, and every time I drank, I cried. Not just a little bit. I'm talking about deep crying, the kind that comes from a place you can't even explain, the kind that makes your chest hurt, the kind that makes you feel like you're breaking all over again. Nothing helped. Not talking to people, not being around people, not trying to distract myself, because at the end of the day, I was still left with my thoughts, and my thoughts were heavy. One day, I reached my breaking point. I felt like I couldn't take the pain anymore, like I'd been strong for too long, like I didn't have anything left in me. And in that moment, I made a decision that came from pain, not from thinking. I took pills, a lot of them. At that moment, I really thought that was it for me. I thought it was done. I thought it was finally going to be free from the pain, but nothing happened. I didn't die, I didn't leave, I was still here. And at first, I didn't understand why, but now I do. I wasn't meant to leave, not like that, not yet. Because even at my lowest, even at my weakest, even when I felt like giving up, something still kept me here. And I believe that means something, even if I didn't understand it at the time. Healing didn't happen overnight. It wasn't something that just came easy. It took time, real time. After everything I'd been through, I didn't just wake up one day and feel better. Some days were still hard. Some days I still felt the weight of everything. But little by little, something inside of me started to shift. It wasn't big at first. It was small, quiet, but it was there. And it started with my grandkids. Their presence reminded me that life was still moving. That even though I'd lost so much, I still had something to live for. They needed me. They looked at me with love, with joy, with a kind of innocence that made me pause and think, maybe I'm still here for a reason. Then my granddaughter was born. At that moment, changed something inside of me. Holding her in my arms, looking at her, feeling her little heartbeat, it did something to me I can't fully explain. It made me realize life was still going on, and I was still a part of it, that I still had purpose, and that I still had something to give, that everything I went through wasn't the end of my story. It was just a part of it. So I made a decision, a real decision, not based on pain, but based on purpose. I wasn't going to stay in that dark place. I wasn't going to let everything I went through define me. I wasn't going to give up on myself. I chose to live, even when it was hard, even when I didn't feel like it, even when I still had bad days, because healing doesn't mean everything goes away. It just means you keep going anyway. I knew I needed a fresh start, So I moved to Las Vegas. That wasn't easy. Leaving behind everything I knew, starting over in a new place. But I knew I needed it. I needed space. I needed change. I needed something different. I started therapy. I needed someone to talk to, someone who could help me understand everything I'd been through, because I couldn't carry it all by myself anymore. And that was one of the best decisions I made. Then I went back to school. I started focusing on building something for myself, something that would move me forward, something that would give my life direction again. Step by step, day by day, I started rebuilding my life. Not perfectly, but intentionally. And even now, I'm still healing, still growing, still learning how to live again. But the difference is I'm choosing to every single day. When I look back over everything I've been through, it's hard to believe I made it. There were so many moments where I could have given up. So many moments where I didn't think I was going to make it through, but I did. I survived losing my mama. I survived COVID. I survived a coma. I survived a stroke. I survived my lowest moments. And even when I didn't want to be here, I'm still here. And that means something. For a long time, I didn't understand why I made it, why I was the one who survived when so many didn't, so many others didn't, why I had to go through so much pain. But now I'm starting to see it differently. Maybe I'm still here for a reason. Maybe my story isn't just for me. Maybe it's meant to help somebody else. Somebody who feels lost, somebody who feels broken, somebody who feels like giving up, because I know what that feels like. I've been there, I've lived it. And if you're reading this right now, I want you to understand something. You're not alone. Even if it feels like it, even if it seems like nobody understands, you're not alone. Pain can make you feel like you're by yourself, like nobody sees you, like nobody hears you, but your story matters. Your life matters. And no matter what you've been through, it's not over. You're still here for a reason too. I don't have all the answers. I'm still learning, still growing, still healing every day. But one thing I do know is this: giving up is not the answer. Because as long as you're still here, there's still a chance to heal, a chance to grow, a chance to start again. So don't give up. Not today, not tomorrow, not ever. Because if I made it through everything I've been through, you can too. We're both still here. And that means something. After falling into a coma caused by COVID-19, I woke up to a world that had changed forever. The pain didn't stop with my illness. While I was fighting for my life, I lost the people I loved the most, including my mother, and I didn't even get the chance to say goodbye. This book is my truth, my grief, my healing. It's about what it feels like to wake up and realize everything is different and still find the strength to keep going. If you've ever felt broken, lost, or alone, this is for you. Because no matter what you've been through, you're still here. Right. I'm gonna send a link. Include a link for this. Just gotta find it. Still got power. Thank you for my one viewer. I will never be able to monetize this, so I can never gain any money from this. I'm just gonna find my friend yashica's. Wait. No, I don't want that. I want yashica, but I don't want that. Thank you for your patience. Just trying to find a link. ASHICA. Oh, she's punkin' too cute. That's right. Okay. There we go. PUNKIN_TOCUTE will get you to links. I'm going to type in the Instagram, the hyperlink, and I'm going to type in the book link. Well, if there is one. I don't even know if there is a book link. But anyway, she can help you obtain her book. That's all the information you truly need. Have patience with me. If you are watching this later, talking to the people of the future, pumpkin. I think pumpkin is somehow related to pumpkins, but I'm not even sure. Yeah, so when you get to her Instagram, you should see a highlight that says my first book. And that will hopefully take you to a link. So she's got a new song called Big Diva Energy too. That really gets me pumped. I could share that every day, but I don't want to because I want to promote her other songs as well. And she gave me this book for free, so that's why she is amazing. Feast your eyes on this. I'm going to help you get a good visual. Got to get into the light. There we go. I'm the only one in my chat. I'm chatting to myself. Ugh. I'm going to be sharing this soon. I just want you to get a good visual. There you go. I think that's a good visual. Just going to hold it for a minute so you know what she looks like. This is one of the most inspiring books I heard in my life. The moment where she regains her love for life reminds me of the moment my dad rededicated his life to Christ when I was born, when he was holding me in his arms. And he was reading at the time about Abraham being prepared to sacrifice his son Isaac. It's kind of incredible that Isaac knew what was happening, but he still chose to go along with his father. I'm sure he knew what was happening. He asked where the wood was, where the animal was for the sacrifice. And I think on some subconscious level, he knew that he was potentially going to be the sacrifice. But thank God, God provided a ram. So Isaac didn't have to die. See, Abraham was promised that he would be the father of many nations and own as many descendants as there are stars in the sky. But he was an old man, so it was hard for him to believe that he would have a child. And his wife was an old woman, and she didn't trust that God had the best plan for them. So she suggested he take advantage of their young maidservant, Hagar. And that's where we get Ishmael from and his descendants. And from another woman, Keturah, who came after Sarah, we get the Arabs, which is where Muhammad's people come from. I'm just mentioning that to say that God can do miracles in all of our lives, and life is worth living. Look at where Yashica is now. She felt like giving up on her life. She felt totally hopeless. She felt like her life was going nowhere fast, like there was no reason to live. But then she saw her grandkids, and that motivated her to keep on living. Now, you may not have grandkids. You may be in my shoes and not even have children and be desperate for children. Like my bestie is. You may not even be in a relationship with someone like me. But you can still have hope because God is a miracle working God. Whether or not you believe in Him, He's able to work miracles in your life. The only miracle He can't give you if you don't believe in Him is salvation. But if you communicate with Him and ask forgiveness for your sins, for all the things you've done wrong, and ask Him to help you with your life struggles every day, you'll get through life and you'll be taken to a better place, a glorious country where there's no pain, no sorrow, no possibility of getting angry, nothing to fear, no potential within us to make mistakes or to get sick like Yashica did. No matter how dark your situation is right now, God can get you through it. Keep trusting in Him. He's given within you the key to overcome whatever you're struggling with right now. Love you much. Peace out. Shalom. Did you